I can see him. And Tim is at Sunflower. All the rest of you look like newscasters.
I'm going to get hit here pretty soon, Anita, I think, if I stay out in the street like this.
That's right. Or eaten by the mountain lion.
That could be it too.
Can't believe my computer's too old to get that nice background on it.
Yeah, they're pretty finicky on that. I'm sure Gary will get into that. And Roger's going to join us in a minute. That was him. He was having a little trouble getting on.
Well, somebody that I do Zoom with on Fridays, she doesn't even have a webcam on her computer. That's how old it is. Like, so I took her an iPad.
She could still join by phone, dial in. All she'd get is the audio.
Right. Well, I took her an iPad because somebody I know got a new iPad and I asked her if I could borrow her old one. Asked her what she was going to do with it. So I took her an iPad so she could still connect with us.
Good. We still have a couple loaners that we could loan out to for someone that needs a little better access. They can't get into the labs. So in respect for Gary's time, I'm going to go ahead and get the meeting started. Appreciate you all coming. I really appreciate Gary. Some of you on this call, Tim and, well, Anita wasn't there, were there yesterday when I was trying to do this myself and was not being very successful. So Gary agreed to come in and pinch hit, and I really appreciate that. He's the owner of 800 Biz Ninja Marketing. He's helped my business and many businesses I know with their websites and their social media. He's a whiz and a great teacher. I've sat in many of his classes. Zoom is the format we chose, even though there's Google Room and there's several other, and one-to-one is probably still FaceTime and Skype that work the best, but this is a really good option if you need to share your screen. My family plays bingo on it every Sunday now since we can't get together. So hopefully this will help you learn it. Again, Gary, I really appreciate you pinch hitting, getting in here and teaching for us, and I'm just going to turn it over to you and take it away.
Sure. Thanks, Tim. Well, when all this started, I do a lot of classes, and that's part of how I got hooked up with Tim. And I met, and he was taking some of my classes that I did. And I see Roger popping in down there. Roger was in some of my classes too. So, hey, Roger, good to see you. But I was actually scheduled to do a webinar on Tuesday for one of the title companies on particular subject matter, whichever. I think it was Instagram I was going to teach. And it was on the Tuesday and Friday when the governor came down and all the things started happening. And so we made a call. I talked to my to Brenda that I work with and said, what do you want to do? Because we don't know that we should do these live now. And she said, I don't know. I guess we could cancel. And I said, no, let's use Zoom. We'll jump on Zoom and we'll do the webinar. And we actually had, I think we had 14 or 15 people signed up for the live class. And when she put it out on Zoom, we ended up with 30 people. So it's been an amazing time for folks that are from business side of things that I'm now doing. Yesterday, I think I did 3 webinars myself that I conducted for people yesterday. So it's a great way to communicate. And like you, Tim, we have some friends that are back in Arkansas that for 40-year friends. And we used to get together every week or so and play cards. And we hadn't been able to do that since we moved out here and 20 years ago, but we still get together periodically. Well, we were able to, using Zoom and and in a couple of online card playing applications, we end up playing our card game. And so we've done that for 3 or 4 weeks now. So it's been a great way to reconnect, to keep in touch with your family and friends. And And I think it's going to be, I think it's going to stay around even after this, you know, this is all over and we're back out to doing things. Because for me, if I can jump on a Zoom meeting with somebody, I live on the east side. So, you know, if I were to need to meet up with someone on the, you know, you guys side of town, it's, you know, it's pack a lunch and get my, you know, get my travel documents in line and spend the day traveling back and forth. So, you know, so for me, it's a great tool, and I'm going to be using it. And I've been using it for about 4 years anyway. I started back in 2016, 2017 using Zoom for webinars. So love the platform, and it's a great way to do it, but it's really exploded. So just a couple of housekeeping tips. If you can mute your video, you can mute your audio. And if we get any noise, I might mute everybody just in case. Right now, everything's pretty quiet, so we're not hearing anything. But you can always mute yourself in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. If you've got, you know, need to do something, there is a chat box. So you should see a chat box if you want to chat with everybody on the call via type. Then you can do that. Just click the chat box, and that opens up and lets you put anything you want, and goes to everybody on the call. And then you know, if you need to stop your video or something like that, you can stop and start the video. If you don't have your video up and running, it could be because maybe you didn't start it, maybe you didn't initialize your camera. So you can always check there's a little up arrow beside the stop video, and that gives you some options to test your video and to restart. It looks like most everybody's got theirs on. So those of you that don't, if you need help, that maybe you might try to do that. So with Zoom, you can connect obviously through a computer, or you can connect through a phone if you don't have access to, you know, like you were talking about, somebody doesn't have a camera on their computer. You know, older desktops typically don't have webcams built into them. Laptops do, but and then of course iPads and Android devices, those are all good and easy to connect with. So normally you shouldn't have any trouble connecting your video and doing everything on there. But again, there's always, it's like everything else. There are some features where the app, which is used on a mobile device, is not as efficient as the desktop, and vice versa. So, but I thought what I would do is just walk through, because it looks like everybody's figured out how to get on pretty much. So walk through, how do you set up a Zoom meeting? What are the differences? What are the limitations? How do you even get an account to set up Zoom? So, and if anybody's got any questions, you can either type them in the chat box or click on the participants tab down there. It'll show you who all's on, and you can there'll be an option to raise your hand if you want to do it that way, and I can call on you. So feel free to do that as well. Let me open this up here where I can see everybody, or most everybody. One of the things you have is you do have in the upper right hand corner of most of the devices, you have a view, which will be, you have either a choice between a speaker view or a gallery view. The gallery will show everybody that's on, and so you can see, you know, each other. If you switch to the speaker view, you just see whoever's speaking, and anytime anybody else speaks, the screen switches back and forth to the speaker versus versus everybody. So you have that. Now on a tablet, or a phone, it may only show a panel of 4 people, and usually the way you do that is you usually swipe. I think it's swipe left, and it will take you to the next 4 and the next 4. If you're only seeing a limited number of people on your screen, so you just have to scroll through to see everybody. So the way you start, Zoom does have a free option. When you sign up, you just go to zoom.com or zoom.us, either one gets you the same place, and you create an account there. You put in an email and a password, and you're ready to go. The limitation on the free version is 100 people, on a meeting at a time with a 40-minute time limit. So you're allowed to spend 40 minutes on there on the free version, and then it basically cuts you off after that point. There is the paid version. There is a paid version that is $16 a month, $15 a month, I think it is. No contract, so you can do it as long as you want to, stop it whenever you want. The paid version, what it does is it gives you an unlimited time. You still have 100 people that you can put on your, you can still talk to 100 people at a time, but you're only allowed, but now you don't have any time limitations. So that is, that's the option for the paid versus the free version. Obviously mine is the free version, the way I run. In fact, I have the webinar option on mine because I do training classes, and it does totally, it's a little different. The classes are, I mean, everything's done the same except for the fact that when I do a webinar, you only see me, you don't see anybody else, the participants, and the participants all come in. I can allow them to talk, but by default, there's no video and no audio. So that's the difference. If you're ever on a webinar and you say, well, how come I can't see everybody that's there? Well, that's because it's a webinar platform, and that's, like I said, that's a different animal, but it's still part of Zoom. So let me walk you through, and if you have particular things that you want me to show or explain to you, stop me as I'm going through it, or raise your hand, or whatever you want to do. The raise hand is just, like I said, you would click on your name and the participants, and then one of the options says raise your hand. So feel free to do that if you got any questions, or just unmute yourself, because everybody's unmuted on my end. So just unmute yourself and ask. That's the easiest way. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see what the dashboard and the layout of Zoom looks like. So let's see here. So you should be seeing my screen now. So this is the dashboard once you log into Zoom, and it's got your profile. You can change your picture. So if you're not showing a video, I mean, if you have your video off, like a couple of you do, then what happens is it's going to show the default picture that you put in. So when you create your account, you would go up here in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see your photo, or probably an initial there if not. And then when you sign into that, it's going to give you your profile. And when you go to your profile, for example, I'll go edit here. Now I can add a photo in here, just a still photo, and that's what shows up when nobody is, or when your video is off. So if I were to turn my video off, that's what you would see, is that photo right there. And you don't have to put anything else in. It doesn't really matter. They're going to set everything else up for you. But that's one of the things and have your name in there, because one of the things that's important nowadays, when Zoom launched, or when it really exploded, people, like everything else, figured out that there was a way that they could exploit Zoom. And so businesses, especially, I know a couple of the real estate agents, mortgage people, or title companies here, were doing some classes and doing some Zoom meetings, and they got Zoom bombed. So, and by that, what happened was people that were uninvited dropped in on the calls and would post pornography, or, racial slurs, or whatever they wanted to put, whatever happened. But obviously it disrupted meetings. So with that, that's why Zoom jumped on that really quick. And I have to give them credit. Within a week, they had changed the platform to require some specific security measures that I think are really good. So, and I use them right now, and they're the default settings. So maybe something you want to do as well. Stanley, I see you've got your hand raised. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to know, you're showing your dashboard using a computer. What about people who are on an iPad only, don't have a computer? Is there any way you could show what that looks like on an iPad? Because I know that is totally different.
Yeah, let me see if I can, let me pull up mine and I'll log mine on here and see if I can share that one as well. Okay, so let's get okay. So while I'm doing that, let me go ahead and I'll go through some of the changes and some of the security aspects of it, because what happens is you get you know, what you want to do is you're basically going to create a meeting, whether it be a one person meeting or whether it be a you know, meeting with a group, whatever it might be. You're going to set up a meeting. And this, I mean, there is a spot where you can just specifically join a meeting by just putting in a meeting ID and a password, which you have a personal ID and password. So if you, for example, here's my personal meeting ID. All I have to do is click to show it. And I can invite somebody in just using that or using this link, either one. And then that gets them, and then they just need to put in my password and you can connect that way. But for me, I usually just go to a meeting and I say, schedule a meeting. And then I'm going to say, call it whatever the meeting is going to be, the start time, the duration, and the duration doesn't really matter. The duration is only for a case when you, the duration is only for if you were recording the meeting, or when the meeting ends, it takes it out of your meeting, previous or upcoming meeting, puts it over into previous. That's really no big deal there. If you want to do something recurring, you can set it up so that you have a regularly scheduled event, and it'll happen every whatever frequency you want it to. So if you want to do a daily one, a weekly one, a monthly one, at every day, every week at a certain time, then you establish that, and it automatically sets up the invite and the announcements for you at that point. If you can require registration on an event this way, and I always do this with larger groups, because I want to know who's coming in there. I want to make sure that they've signed up and registered rather than just dropping in unannounced. That can happen. So I do it. I usually require it if it's a larger group. If it's a small group or just a handful of people that I know, then I don't worry about the registration. So it's usually fine. You have a meeting password, and the meeting passwords are going to be are required now that you have that you do have a meeting password set up. Again, that's just security measure. You can change them, you know, have the password be whatever you want. And in my case, what I do most of the time is I use my phone number as the password. That way I know what it is and I can easily give it out. So you can set up where the video or the participants have control or have video. So if the host you want the host to have video, you want the participants to have video, you simply click these two and everybody is shown like they are here. I usually leave it set. The default is for audio to connect to both, because you don't know if somebody's going to be able to come in on is going to come in via phone or have trouble, computer audio trouble. So I just leave it to both. It's easier. I typically always enable the waiting room. Again, from a security standpoint. Now, if it's even if it's a 1 or 2 person meeting, I mean, for my, you know, if I'm meeting with my card playing friends, I still do I still enable the waiting room, because with that enabled, all it does is it makes me, it gives me the option to admit them to the room. And even if you got a large meeting, I mean, we have 27 people on here today, you know, even if I were to say, okay, I'm going to enable the waiting room, everybody can jump in whenever they get there. They can be there 5 minutes early, 10 minutes early, whatever. They just sit in the waiting room. And then once I start the meeting, I click admit all, and everybody is dumped into the meeting. So it's So the waiting room is a good way to make sure you get just the people that you want in there. You can enable join before the host, which again, with the waiting room, it doesn't really matter. They're going to be in there anyway. And then you can automatically record the meeting if you want. I normally manually record mine rather than automatically, because for one thing, I want to, because if I'm starting the meeting 10, 15 minutes earlier, I don't want 10 or 15 minutes of, dead air or me checking things out or whatever. So you have an option at the bottom of your screen of your control screen to be able to stop and start video. And you can record video to the cloud, to their Zoom's cloud, or you can record it to your local device. Alternative hosts, this is really more for teams where you have a company where they've got a team of people. That's really what the alternative host is for, because they need to be in your Zoom account. Once you're done, you click save. Your meeting's ready to go, and then when you're ready to start it, you just simply click start the meeting, and then everybody that's been invited can come in. It will generate an invitation for attendees. So, and all you have to do is copy that invitation. And so what I typically do is I just copy the invitation, and then I go open my email program and paste that in my email program and send it. So that's what goes out to everyone that's been invited. Passwords in there, already built in. It's just typically all they need to do is click the join the meeting link, and that's usually all they need. So that's how simple it is to start a meeting for anyone. You can always change or edit it or anything you want to do, but for the most part, that's how you get started with a meeting. It's pretty simple to use. And like I said, I use it for a lot of different groups. Occasionally you'll have an issue with somebody trying to get in on a device, phone, more than likely is where I usually have problems. So that's how you get in there. Now let me pull up, let me see here. Let's stop my share and come back to you guys. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull up my other device here. Am I on here again?
Gary,
Yeah.
it's Leslie Parr.
Mm-hmm.
Are you there?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you have to set up a meeting just to communicate with one other person?
You don't have to. You can go in, you can just use the personal meeting ID. So if you go back over here to the share screen, if you go back to your profile, and you can just simply copy that URL, copy that meeting ID and give it to them, or tell them on there on the phone. You can say, hey, so you go to, see if this will let me do this without messing.
Yeah, it's that number before you showed us about the messages, that number.
Yeah. So what you're going to do is you're going to tell them to join a meeting.
I see.
So that you just say, go to Zoom, click join a meeting, and then type in this number, and you give them this, you give them this 6-7 digit, the 10-digit number that you would find here under your personal meeting ID.
Right. I think I understand.
Yeah. And then that lets them, and then all of that gets them into a meeting with you one-on-one.
And do they have to, you have to set up a contact list with other people's email address?
No, you don't need anything else. You don't, and they don't even have to, they would have to download Zoom if they're going to try to use it from a tablet or a phone, but they don't have to on a desktop.
So we have a yoga Zoom set up, and so she has us in her, we gave her our email address,
Right.
and then she just emails us with a link.
Yeah, sure.
So that's what she's doing. Okay.
Yep, exactly.
So we
Yeah,
can,
so-
we can do the same thing with an individual.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's I mean, just with a one-on-one setting, all you have to do is go here to, get the personal meeting ID. And, once you do that, you're good to go.
Now that personal ID is the one that they assigned you. Does
Yes.
that stay forever and ever? Or
That doesn't change. That ID number does not change for your account. That's assigned to you. Now, if you're going to,
I see. Okay, thank you.
if you're doing a meeting, then the meeting will create an ID for you. So see, it's given me a different ID each time I do a different meeting.
Okay.
But and the reason for that is you might have multiple meetings scheduled. So let's say you're doing your yoga classes, and you've got a Monday morning class and a Wednesday morning class and a Thursday afternoon class that you've got that you've invited people to. Well, then you could have those meetings all set up ahead of time, and then all you have to do is go start the meeting. But each one needs a different meeting ID, and so that's why but when you do the invitation, when you copy the invitation, it's going to have that meeting ID built into it.
And so what she did is she is emailing us at 8:30 in the morning, and then she goes back and starts the meeting at 9 o'clock, right?
Right.
She's doing. Okay.
Right.
All right. Thank you very much. I'll mute myself now.
No problem. So yeah, that's the way you do that. So it's easy to set that up, and you can do recurring, but with the recurring, and if you have people register, then it stores that ID and their username and or their email address and password. So you can, if you do a recurring type of a meeting, then you already have all that built in. Then all you have to do is just click send a reminder. So it's pretty easy that way. All right. Let me see. I'm going to try something here, Stanley. I haven't forgot about you. I'm going to see if I can mirror my screen to my computer. I haven't done this on here, so.
What is share screen?
What the share screen does is it lets you share what's on your screen. So it is it's a function of just letting you, just like I just did. So if I want to share screen, I just simply click share, and I find the screen on my computer that I want to share, and I can share it. And then once you're done, you just say stop share, and it stops the sharing of it. If I wanted to, the other thing you also have when you share screen, you also have a whiteboard that you can share. So if you go whiteboard, now you can draw on the whiteboard, or you can stamp things on the whiteboard, or, write text on the whiteboard. So, another way to do things that way. So the whiteboard's kind of fun just to play around with. You do have, from a security standpoint, you also have the ability to lock a meeting if it's a larger meeting. Let's say that I wanted to, once everybody was here and I was comfortable and made sure everybody was in, I could lock the meeting, and then that way nobody else could get in. The reason you might want to do that is if you are, if you publicize the link, and this is where people got in trouble. They posted it on Facebook, or they did something like that. Hey, join my, hey guys, we're going to get together and let's do a Facebook, let's do a Zoom meeting. And they posted the link on Facebook. Well, somebody intercepted that, and or was able to jump in on your meeting. So that's why you could lock a meeting and they can't get in. You can also set it where you don't allow share screen. So if I wanted to say, hey, just to make sure I want to make sure that, you know, nobody can share their screen except me or control through me, then you can do that as well. So that's what the share screen does. So is there, you got any, let's see, Stanley, you have another question? Let's see, you got a hand raised again. You're still muted, so unmute.
Yeah, you mentioned the share content. After you're finished sharing it, you said you tap the stop share.
Right.
But on an iPad, you don't have that icon. So I'm wondering, how do you go back to your Zoom screen after you're done sharing on an iPad?
You will have you have a share screen in the middle, and then once, you know, down at the bottom, and then once you share that screen, then that green button that says share turns into red. So let's see here. Let me see if I can share mine.
I just,
Okay. So in the lower left-hand corner, you may be able to see mine here. You see down here in the bottom,
yeah.
there's a little chevron down here at the bottom. If I click that open, there's my stop share. There's the red stop share button. It's in the lower left-hand corner.
Okay, I don't get that on my iPad though.
It should be somewhere down there, somewhere in that same location. Try tapping in the lower. Of course, if you're not sharing a screen, you're not going to see it.
Right.
So, but do you see a share screen option?
I do, and that's in the
Okay.
toolbar on the upper right-hand corner of the iPad.
Okay. All right. So once you share the screen, then you're going to, then that green icon to share turns into a red, or a green with a red X to stop sharing. So you don't see the stop share until you're sharing.
Okay.
Make sense? So. All right.
One last question for me.
Sure.
Initially, when you started, you said that there are security things that we could do. Should we do that immediately when we sign in and sign up?
No, for the security side of things, what you want to do is you can do that after you start the meeting. You can do that after you start. Yeah.
So we don't get unsolicited people coming to our meeting.
Right. So if you set up the meeting, to enable the waiting room, which is by default usually already set up, then you're not going to get anybody in. They can't come in. They'll come to the waiting room, and if you don't recognize them, you just don't let them in. If they don't have the password, and if you just email the link or the registration to people, then nobody else is really going to have that link and get in. So it's not as critical now, especially with the required password.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Burl, you had a question? I see your hand raised.
Yes, I joined late, and I see my name up there, but not my video or my picture. Am I showing up other places, or do I not understand this?
Okay, so did you probably need to start your video. And are you on a desktop or are you on a
Laptop?
You're on a laptop. Okay, so you need to start the video in the lower. You see down here where on my tablet where it says start video. You click that. That should start. There you go.
Okay, thank you.
You're there. Okay,
Very informative.
Yeah, thanks. So Stanley, this is my desktop. I mean, this is my mobile my Android tablet that you're seeing now. This may be a little different than the iPad, but it should be fairly similar layout. So you'll see here, everything is, I mean, you've got the the audio, the start video, start and stop video. You've got the share screen, which right now is sharing, and you see the red X in it, so I can stop sharing at that point. The participants, I can pop open the participant channel, and it shows me everybody that's participating. And
Gary,
yes,
whatever you did just recently, your video and audio are out of sync.
probably because, well, yeah, here's why. You're hearing my voice on the on as the presenter on my desktop, but you're seeing the laptop, I mean the tablet's screen.
Okay. Okay.
So
Thank
yeah,
you.
so that's why you're seeing it out of sync. So down here in the lower right hand corner, you've got a more button, and so here's your chat, here's raise hand, here's the, you know, hide video and all those kind of things. So that's all in the lower right hand corner. So that's how the, you know, that's how the operations on a tablet work. I can't really get back to the launch, but it's the same pretty much. The launch of the screen is pretty much the same.
Gary, you mentioned you're using an Android tablet,
Yep.
but if you go with an iPad, Apple iPad, I don't get that bottom toolbar where it says stop share. I've never gotten that.
But you've got a start share button, right?
I got a start share button up at the top right-hand corner on the iPad,
Okay.
but I don't have the stop share on the
Well,
bottom.
you're not sharing anything, so you don't see a stop until you start.
Okay.
You gotta start before you can stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if I were to, I mean, I can stop share, but once I do that, as soon as I click the stop share, this screen will go away, but you'll see but when I do, that button at the bottom turns back to start share or share screen. So it's only you're only going to see that changes from whichever, you know, you're trying to do.
Okay.
So, all right. So I'm going to go back to now my audio, my voice ought to be synced to my, to the video. Let's see here. Burl, did you have another question or?
I got one more. I'm not a member yet this year. Where should I send my fee? This has been a good meeting.
Tim, that's up to you. Unmute yourself, Tim. And
Yeah, it took me a second to get back to my screen. If you want to send it to Jenny Elm, that would be great.
To who? Jenny?
Yeah, to Jenny Elm. She's in Ginny Elm. She's our
ELM?
treasurer, and she's in the directory. These are special times. Usually I just have you drop it off at the center, but that'll work right now.
$25 or?
25 for an individual or 35 for a household.
Okay.
But again, we're being awful loose until things get
Sunflower Tech Club?
a little more normal.
Sunflower Tech Club then?
Sunflower Tech Club, correct.
Right. Well, we're snowbirds, so we got about a month left, but I want to get it in beforehand, so.
Well, this might be a great platform to get us together with the snowbirders, because I kind of miss my neighbors, and it'd be kind of nice to get together once in a while. So
Yeah, this is new for me, and my wife has been doing it with a quilting group. They do it about every other week. It's pretty neat.
Like Leslie said, the yoga people are doing it. I know. Told Maddie I'd put in a plug for him, so here's the plug. She's in the book too, Maddie Carr. If you want to join yoga virtually, she's doing it with Zoom. So I'm glad you liked the meeting.
And
Yes.
Tim,
Yeah.
there's Pat Blasek is also in our group, and I'm Leslie Parr, and I'm the president of the yoga club.
Oh, I did not know that. Thank you, Leslie.
Yeah, and Tim, I'm the president of Quilters, and I'll be starting that Zoom meeting tomorrow for the Quilters.
That is great. If you send me a link, we'll get that out there and cross help each other get the word out.
10-4.
Well, and I'm
All
also, I'm doing the readers, sunflower readers that way also. So,
Okay. If I'm going to put my email in the chat box, or the Sunflower Tech Club at Gmail, get to me too. And we'll work on cross promoting each other. That'd be great. this is kind of going to be our new platform for a little while anyway. Hopefully not long, but and like I say, during the summer it might be great because we don't have to lose as much touch with the snowbirds. So I'll turn it back over to Gary, and I'll type my emails in the chat box. So if you find your chat box, you should be able to see it.
Anita, did you had your hand raised?
Okay, so Gary, I've been doing a lot of Zoom and I find it incredibly frustrating. And most of the frustration comes from the different platforms. So I always use my laptop because it works seamlessly. I mean, it just works perfectly.
Right.
Everything's there. I don't have to think. I don't say, why doesn't this work? But if I get out my iPad and try to do things, everything goes haywire. And I have found that with people that I'm trying to get up and running as well. It's just different. There's like 3 different things I can see. One is right now I'm on the zoom.us. I'm on the website, but there's also an application. I'm on a Mac laptop. So there's also an application for the laptop. And then there's 4, because then you could use your phone or you could use your laptop. Right. Where I have the most difficulty with people is when they use their phone. That's like, forget it. Please don't even try to use your phone. Secondly, the iPad, I just don't think Zoom has good support for it to get your questions answered. So Stanley's questions today, we've tried to work through some of these things with our iPads and the support just isn't there. It's almost like, Tim, we need a totally separate little intro where we're just doing it with the iPad people.
That's
right.
I kind of typed that in the chat box as well. I'll make myself available this Sunday at 3. I'd say 2 to 4 since we usually have our help sessions in, but I started bingo on Sunday. I'm sorry. So, but we can start at 3. Anita, I'd love if you join because you're a great Apple user. It is different. It's more frustrating. My mother-in-law, that's all she has. So I've kind of had to learn to walk her through. So we have our bingo sessions on Sunday. All I can say is like anything else, the more you practice and the more you use it, the more you'll figure it out. And yet I've been using it a lot in the last month, and you saw how I struggled yesterday. So don't feel bad if you struggle. I've struggled. So
also just an FYI, most people think they really don't have to join. They can just use the free version. And that's what I was doing. And then I decided to pay the $14.95. Well, the $14.95 supposedly connects you to like online chat and that. And when you're free, they send you a notice saying, oh, you're just a free user. No, you just have to use whatever we have on the screen. And I found that really frustrating. But also I've been for 2 months, I've been a paying member and cannot get through to their help.
Well, keep in mind that they went from having, a modest amount of users on a regular basis to millions and millions of users exploding. And they're actually struggling with keeping the bandwidth enough of for their, to keep the site. It's really working well. I mean, when I first started using it a couple of weeks or 3 or 4 weeks ago, a month ago, I guess it was, I mean, there were down times and, gaps, and, I'd be in the middle of a webinar and it would buffer and things like that. So keep in mind that they're scaling up to handle the volume as well as possible. But that includes their support, because they're like everybody else. I mean, I'm dealing with Google on some stuff, and Google's support team says, we'll get back to you sometime, but don't get in any big hurry because we're running on a short staff and we don't have people. And so I know it's frustrating. I've tried to find a few different things with the iPad, and you're right. The phone is the biggest problem that I have with meetings I'm doing. Oftentimes what you need to do is have them, if they're trying to trying to watch and talk, you know, and maybe they've got headset or they got a headset on and trying to do things, that's different because then you can't see or hear one thing and another. So, you know, sometimes it's easier if they'll back out, log back in, make sure they enable their video, make sure they test their video, make sure they test their audio on the device. Sometimes, usually that'll help clear it. Like I said, but I know, I hear you. I do this. There's not a day go by that I'm not on Zoom either.
Yeah.
Like
I've
conducting a
noticed that some people will be on their phone and their computer and it blocks it out and it will delete other people. But also, has anybody noticed which browser they use? Because if you use Edge, sometimes it doesn't work.
I typically
I use Chrome and I have no issues.
I'm a Chrome. I'm Chrome typically.
I'm Chrome also.
I'm third Chrome. Yep.
Yeah. So that's there. And yeah, there are things, there are browser issues with, you know, where on a lot of different things, some things do better than others. So Larry, you had your hand raised. So let me get back to you before we forget you.
But Buzz had a question too.
Yeah. Larry, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Well, I was just going to say that an easy way to mute and unmute if you're on a PC is just tap. You can see on my picture up there, if I tap the space bar, I mute and then I unmute.
Good shortcut. Yep.
And also, Buzz, you need to tell Buzz how to raise his hand electronically.
Yeah. What you do,
Buzz.
Yeah, when you look at the participants tab, Buzz, and you'll see and when you mouse over your name, it'll say raise hand or lower hand. But since I spotted you raising your hand, now go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, it was a suggestion on the part of the numerous people that are going to be running Zoom meetings. You might use the Sunflower communicator to say that you are running this particular Zoom meeting, because that goes out to a number of different homes within the community. Secondly, we tried running a Zoom board meeting yesterday, and I had set it up as a personal meeting for the board members of the Genealogy Society. And then I had to be in a meeting had to go to the hospital for some x-rays. And so I was not on my laptop. I was on my phone, and they had a heck of a time. People couldn't get into the meetings. And it said, let's see, I had no waiting room set up. I had the password sent to them. It said only authorized users can join. And nobody could figure out how to get in, and I was laying underneath an x-ray machine. So I couldn't help them.
Yeah, that's why I like I run into an issue sometimes with passwords, and if somebody tries to utilize the link and then type in the password, I have had issues with that in the past. That's why I like the waiting room. Typically, if I enable the waiting room, they're all there. If they click the link in the email, it takes them straight to the waiting room, and they don't have to. And then all you have to do is admit them once you're ready to launch the meeting. So that's why, to me, that's the easiest fix for most of that. Yeah. Now, if they try to go, and the other thing people do is they'll tend to go to the registration link, and like the one Tim sent out, see, it had a join now, but sometimes they'll look at that and they go, well, I need to call in too, or I see phone numbers, or I need to click this link, and then you have to put in the password, and so that always causes an issue. But the registration email that Zoom generates for most everything has a click to join. And if you just tell them, hey, all you need to do is use the click to join, that gets you right in. And then once you launch, then you just click admit all from the waiting room. And then that dumps everybody in there.
Okay. I was also trying to figure out on the free version of Zoom, can you set up an alternate host?
No.
Okay, that's why we couldn't find that.
No, you can't. The alternate host, and I mentioned that earlier, the alternate host in the can only be another Zoom user that's in your account. Because Tim was going to do that with me for this meeting, and it wouldn't let him because I have, even though I'm a Zoom user and I've got my own account, but it would not recognize that and let me be an alternate host. So the alternate host is a little misleading in the fact that it sounds like you can, just set somebody up to be another part of it, but it really is designed for teams. So that's what the alternate. Marie, I see you got your hand up. I'll get you just in a second.
Okay.
Didn't want you to think I forgot you. So yeah, the alternate host, the only thing you can do is once they log in, once somebody logs in, is you can give them, make them a host as well. So you can hand the host duties back and forth within the meeting.
Oh, okay.
But you have to,
yeah, that would work.
Yep. So
Yeah,
that's the way you do that.
I did that because I had to leave and I handed it off to someone and it worked seamlessly.
Yep.
Okay.
See, that's what Tim did to me. He handed the meeting controls over to me. Now, if I'm done, I can hand them back to Tim and he can do whatever.
By the way, I'm just trying something here, Gary.
Okay.
I noticed that it was awfully dark in my room here with no lights. So what I did is I turned on my iPhone with the flashlight version and just set that up on the computer to get lighting.
The other thing you may want to do, watch your backlighting. That's what causes more issues than anything.
Yeah.
So your blinds back there are partially open, and you're getting a lot of light through those, so that will cause some shadowing there.
Okay.
So, and that's why of course, I've got my virtual background up. I didn't show you how to do that too. I'll show you how to do the virtual backgrounds. Those are fun. Marie, what was your question?
Okay, it's about the screen display. I see a horrible, I have two pictures of myself up there, and one is a horrible selfie. And then I see another one where I'm actually talking in person. Okay. What do you see?
We just see your picture of you talking.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I see the other picture of her.
Oh, is the other one there?
I see one too.
How do I get rid of that?
Where
I tried signing out. I mean, well, I guess it'll go, but I don't know how it got up there. But I know I do that a lot. I take a selfie when I'm not supposed to be doing it. So, oh, and then the other question is, I don't see all the participants. Buzz was talking. I didn't see him. I don't see, oh my gosh, the other officer. She was just on explaining the iPad, and her name is
Jenny.
Anita. I don't see Anita.
Anita.
Well, I'm on a laptop and I have a little arrow saying 2 of 2.
Yeah.
And
right.
I realized that I wasn't seeing Buzz. So I clicked that button and I can go back and forth. I have 2 full screens.
Yeah. There's 2 screens, and that may be why I don't see where your other photo is.
Selfie? Good.
Yeah, I don't see
it's on the, if I go over a screen, there it is.
So you must be logged in twice.
Yeah, I think she's logged in twice.
Probably logged in on your phone.
That's it. I tried early this morning, and then I did.
Oh, I see it up there. I do see it up there. Yeah. So you're logged in twice. So you're logged in probably from a phone as well as from your whatever you're on.
Yeah. So just unlog whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, do what?
Just unlog the other one, your phone or your whatever else, your second device.
Ah, okay.
Not this one that you're talking on, but the other.
Okay.
And that's
Right.
that's your profile picture. So that's what you've got set.
Oh,
If you may
gosh.
not have a profile picture set. So let me jump back over here. Let me show you where we were on that. So that's what happens when you're here. So when you go to your profile, this is the photo that's showing right here. So if you change that to whatever you want, then you can, that's usually what shows if you're not logged in.
Okay.
Or if video is not on, rather, I should say. So that's what that is.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay. So let me show you what I'm thinking about. Oh, Susan, you got a question? Unmute yourself, Susan. There we go.
Okay. I'm on an iPad. I seem to be having no problems except for unmuting myself at that point. What I'm seeing in my right-hand upper corner is that I'm recording, and I don't really want to record. I don't know where it goes.
You're not recording.
It's you.
Yeah. Tim set the recording up for this meeting.
Okay, I feel better about that.
Yeah, we record all meetings for people that can't make it. This will be on the website probably by tomorrow. Larry puts it up there for us. Thanks, Larry.
Susan, they're sending it to match.com right after this is over.
Ouch.
I think you sent it to Tim, not to me.
Let's see. Stanley, I think you've got your hand raised.
Yes, one more question. On an iPad, if you go up to the upper right-hand corner where it says more, you tap on that, there's something that says minimize meeting. What exactly does that do? What purpose does that serve?
Well, that's probably going to just pull the meeting down to instead of full screen, to be able to let you find something else on there. Like if you're looking for a document, and I don't have that in Android, so I'm not sure. I haven't played with that feature, but I'm guessing it's just going to the meeting will still be up and running, and you'll still be able to hear, but you'll be able to see other things on your desktop type thing.
Well, I tapped on it and your picture goes up to the upper right-hand corner. It's about 2 inches by 1.5 inches.
Right. Yeah.
And that's it. I don't see anything else.
Well, so what you've done is minimize the screen. So you're just seeing my picture and nothing else in a small version.
Right.
Yeah. So what you've done is you've just taken away from the, the group view, and so that you could still see whatever else on your desktop that you needed. So that's what that would be. Pat, you had a question. Pat, do you have a question?
Yes, I did. Sorry. I was responding to Buzz. When it comes to lighting, you need the lighting in front of you, so it's, and not on the side and not in the back. And lights are really, really bad. And also those shades and stuff. Because your last meeting, Buzz, all we saw was a silhouette. So for when I have the quilters, I always remind them, you can use your phone like you're doing a selfie and go around your house to find out a good spot to sit. And then also if you have your camera up almost to eye level, you get more of a face versus if I'm sitting down, or a lot of times you'll see people's ceilings because it's tilted up. It's better, you look better if you're looking up at your camera versus down it, or the camera looking up at you. You want to look a little down at the camera.
Keep in mind when the camera is down lower, down on a lower level, like Pat's is right now, you're looking up her nose. So if you keep that in mind, that will usually give you a good indicator of maybe I shouldn't do it that way. Yeah, lights are important. Sound is important. So just if you're doing it, you'll notice I use a remote mic, and I've got a full setup and camera and setup, and the lights. I typically don't have to have the lights on very often, but occasionally I will. But I do have a full set of lights and everything. So, but I do a lot of video work, so that's why I do that.
Gary, I've got a question.
Okay.
A little confused about this raise your hand. You know, I'm trying to do this kind of thing. Where do I find that? I don't see that.
Down on the bottom, look at for the participants tab.
Participants tab. I don't have that one either. Now, along the bottom of my screen, I have about halfway through the meeting. I finally saw down at the bottom where it says mute or stop video.
Yep.
Or participants and a number.
Yeah, okay, there's your participants tab right there.
Just click on that participants tab.
Oh, click on the participants tab.
Yep.
And then you just click on your name and raise your hand.
Oh, there's the raise the hand.
Yep, that's how it is.
Okay. So then if I can click it off. Now my other confusion is if it would change, like I didn't have that bar along the bottom for a while, and then all of a sudden it did. Like right now I have the participants' pictures across the top. But when you would go to that green thing, those participants would end up on my right-hand side, up and down the side of the right hand of the screen, and that's the top. And then switch whenever you would go to showing us a share screen.
When he was sharing the screen.
Right.
When he was sharing the screen, it did that.
Yeah, the share screen will what it does is it changes the viewpoint a little bit so you can see. And it depends on how which typically it opens in speaker view or gallery view, but there are, you do have options for the, you're probably in the, the gallery view? If you look in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see either it'll say speaker view or there'll be a little 9-dot panel upper right-hand corner of the screen right beside the panel of people. Yeah. So if you click that and go to gallery view, it brings you back to everybody. So in the speaker view, whoever's talking, you get their big picture, and then everybody else is in small. But in the gallery, you see everybody. So if you want to switch between
to that personal information profile.
I'm sorry?
How do I get to where it would show your profile and set up?
That's only if you have, that's once you have a Zoom account.
If you have a Zoom.
If you set up a Zoom account, then you're going to have that profile and let you put your photo in.
Not the free one, but the paid one?
Either one. The free will still give you that as well.
Because I thought when I set it up, I set up for this free one.
Well, if did you register an account and put in your email and password with Zoom, or did you just join a meeting?
Well, I joined some time back for one of the board meetings to be able to participate in the board meeting. So I thought I had an account.
Okay.
That's why I was going to look to see under profile.
Just checking. Yeah.
Tim, I found when I get confused on finding that setting screen after the meeting, just try firing up Zoom, and usually it'll take you to that settings screen first.
Okay.
And then when you get to that settings screen, you'll see the general video audio. It'll give you 8 or 10 options to set your setting. Okay. It just needs to play with it.
Yep.
It takes a lot of playing.
Yep. Gene, you had a question?
Yeah, last week on the news, they had said that Zoom was going to be updating, the security. Was that something that they did, or is that something that we have to download?
No, what they're doing is they're going to the Zoom 5.0 is coming out, and it adds an extra layer of encryption in your account. If you've got a Zoom account, it should update you automatically. There is an upgrade in there, and to be honest, as soon as it came out last week or something, I tried to do it and it said it did, but it's still giving me the notice. So I don't know if it did or not. I'm not sure, but it'll do it automatically.
Okay. Cause when
I had to download it.
Yeah.
On my Mac, I had to download the update.
Okay. That's good to know.
Because when I signed in for the meeting, on top, it said about updating,
Yeah.
the new version. So that's why I was wondering if I had to do it or if they were going to do it automatically.
They will after May 30th, they'll force the upgrade, but you can go
Okay.
ahead and do it. But the encryption is, I'm not too concerned about that encryption because, you know, for the majority of nothing I'm doing is sensitive enough that I need to worry about, you know, it being extra super encrypted and all that. That's more for corporate business related things that you need privacy in. Or, you know, the other thing is for medical professionals that need that layer of HIPAA privacy.
Okay,
So,
thanks.
Sure. Okay. One more thing I was going to show. Let me show you because it's kind of fun, just so you can play with it. Down on the lower left-hand corner, where you have the stop video. So if you click on, there's a little arrow on your PC now on the tablet. Let's see here. Let me figure it out.
Yeah, I have it. It says select camera, FaceTime, choose virtual background and video
Yeah.
settings.
What you want to do, if you want to choose a virtual background, that's what you're seeing on Tim's. That's what you're seeing on Anita's. Those are virtual backgrounds. That's what mine is. So when you change you can put, it's just a photo. It needs to be a relatively large photo, you know, like it comes out of your camera. But once you go into that setting for virtual backgrounds, then you can change and plug, you can change and plug something into your, as a virtual background that shows behind you. So you eliminate all that stuff that's, you know, the scenery behind you, and it automatically plugs it in. So, and it can be a video. You'll see mine running right now is a little video of my dogs and it's floating in a pool. So, and it works most of the time. Sometimes, you know, you might have, if you've got too much light in the background, it can make it fade in and out. So there are some issues like Jenny, for example. Jenny, yours, I don't know what your photo is, but you just morphed into that. Your head morphed into whatever the rest of that background is. So sometimes it doesn't, you know, sometimes it doesn't always work. There's some pre-built backgrounds that are already made in there. And there's some, if you want to, you know, yep, like the grass or the beach ones or things like that. So.
But Gary, having just done that, it said that I can't do it unless I use the green background. So can you address that a moment?
So there's the option. Yeah. In some cases it may not work. In some of your computers my wife's, I can't get hers to accept the green screen. I mean, the background. It does give you the option of using a green screen or mirroring my video. You know, most of you don't have a green screen. I happen to have one, but you know, again, mine works pretty well without it. So, you know, if it tells you that, it's probably because your background, there's too much busyness in the background and it's not able to cut it out. If I turn mine off and let you look behind the scenes, let's see here. So where is none? Here we go. So yeah, if you get if I turn it off and let you behind the scenes, that's what you look at in my office. But it works out pretty well. But most, you know, occasionally it doesn't. You have to play with it. If you need a green screen, you'll see that's what this is over here on my behind me there by the window. That's actually my green screen that I pull over and use for other types of videos. It needs to be a solid color. You might try it even with a solid color sheet or a solid color green. The green that they use is because it typically doesn't recur in nature, you know, and so that's why it's one of the ones they're able to cut out the background.
Okay.
So.
Tim, I want to know if you're going to share those cookies that you got in the back.
Well, I've got to thank Jenny. Jenny sent them over to me because she couldn't get them on her green screen, but they're thanks to Jenny, who always brings the cookies. reach through and grab one. I'm sure there'll be plenty. So I want to let Gary go. I know his time's valuable. I can't tell you how much we appreciated this, Gary, and bailing me out. And we'll continue this discussion as a club. I'll send out an email. I've also found a few YouTube links that have helped me, and I'll share those with you. Any final thoughts, Gary? Thanks again for being with us. Give us a plug for what you do and all that.
If you want a tutorial, again, a little more tutorial on Zoom, I have a full webinar that I did. I've done it about 4 or 5 times now, but it's on my website, ninjamarketingdojo.com. It's on the front page there, and you can click it and watch it's a YouTube just a YouTube video I did on Zoom tutorial, but that's where you can find that. So what I do is I do website design, I do search engine optimization, and I do social media marketing, coaching, and training. So this is the kind of stuff I live online for. And so I've been doing this, a lot lately. So, but yeah, if you know of anybody that's looking to need any help in those areas, I'm more than happy to assist them in that capacity. So that's what I do. My website is 800bizninja.marketing. And you can find it from the other as well. So
we'll send a link to that webinar, and I appreciate it, Gary. So.
Okay, I'll put that in the chat, and then let me see if I can turn the hosting back over to you, Tim, in case you want to.
Hey, Gary, thank you very much. That was really helpful.
Yes.
Thanks. I'm glad we could help.
Thank you very much.
Glad I could help.
And Susan,
and I wanted to let Gary go, but I tell you, if you guys want to hang around and chat or share or teach or learn, hang on. We've got time, so the meeting won't cut off automatically. I just wanted to give Gary the chance to go on to his busy days. So.
All right, Tim, you got the control again.
I'm back driving again. All right.
I've given you the con as a Star Trek reference there.
You got it.
All right, thank you guys. Hope that was helpful.
Sure appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you, Tim. I'm going to leave the meeting. I have things to do.
I understand. Anybody that wants to leave, feel free. It is being recorded. I'll put that link on as well. Send you out an email, hopefully yet today. I really like the platform. Like I say, I like getting together with the snowbirds with this platform. We've done our Thursday breakfasts or coffees on the block with it. It's really had some positive things in a negative time. So I hope you use it. If you need help, like I say, this Sunday we'll go at 3. I don't know what Anita's. I know Anita's starting to travel herself here. Whether she'll be keeping the help sessions this way. If not, I'll try to make some time available for sure. And we'll definitely this Sunday at 3. I'll send out a note, and I'll be on my iPad so we can try to work through that together too. So you'll get a link for that with the newsletter. So I'll send out.
Tim, I have a quick question. Are you on the Sunflower subscribed account?
No, because I paid for my own. So I've been using that. I believe Tom's using the Sunflower account right now because he's hosting some meetings that are over 40 minutes. I believe as a club president, you can use the club account. Check with Anna Marie to make sure. Since I have a paid account, I have the same account they do. Gary actually has more of an account. To do a webinar, you have to have another level. To have a shared meeting host, you have to have another level.
That is weird.
What's weird, Nina?
I left the meeting, but I was still in the meeting. I chose leave meeting, but I was still in the meeting.
I can't let you go, Anita. You're too valuable.
Yes.
Let's see, since I'm driving, I think I can kick you off if you want. There we go.
Leave, I think,
I think she got it. She's gone.
Thanks again, Tim and Gary.
Yeah.
You bet. And we can redo this. If you want to shoot me an email, we can try to do this in smaller groups with if I get emails that say we have a common problem, 3 or 4 of us, I'll set up a meeting and we can try to work through it. So
Tim, my question is, I had clicked on that chat box, and so I see on the side now it says Zoom group chat, and I've got several things that have been typed in there. If I want to type a message, but now how do I get rid of that and go back to just the full screen of
what type of machine are you on?
a PC?
A PC, top right, there should be an X. And that'll close that box.
Where's the X?
On the top right.
Top right. Well,
of that
I was afraid to
particular
click
window.
that where I could maybe click off the whole screen and not just the chat box.
That should just, no, that will end your screen. I see what you're saying. Oh, let's see.
Yeah,
there you go.
Leave the meeting.
See the caret on the left of the Zoom group chat.
Okay.
Click on it and hit close. Watch for those, I call them carrots, those little arrows. Zoom uses them a ton, and usually that's going to take you where you need to go.
Yeah, now that, when I did that, it still comes up with the box when I leave the meeting.
On the Zoom chat, Zoom group chat to the left,
right?
There's a caret down.
Yeah.
In fact, it just did it to me. And then it'll expand, close, or pop out.
No, I'm still not seeing it. Oh, that, is it that caret?
Find
Oh,
it?
close, pop out. Okay.
Okay, if you close it, you can close it. Pop out puts it in another screen. Minimize just makes it little, but you can still see it.
I was going too far to the clear to the other end of the
It's tricky. The iPad, the tough part with the iPad I've found is the touch screen, because they use the touch screen and all their ribbons hide to give you more screen space. So learning to tap and where to swipe on an iPad is the key to Zoom.
Now, what I lost is again across the bottom, the different options across the bottom.
Now, just bring your mouse down to the bottom and see if it comes back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was up high.
Yep. See, it hides its ribbons. It hides its controls.
Okay.
And you have to move your mouse, or on an iPad, you have to tap to get them back.
But see, I'm on a PC. Desktop.
Yeah. But on a PC, it's more moving the mouse. On a portable device, it's more touching the screen to get it to come back or manipulate it.
Okay, this has been very helpful. Very helpful.
Good, good. And you know, I didn't learn it in the first webinar or video, and I still don't know. It's a process I'm still working on, but the more you use it, the more you enjoy it and don't have to fight it as much. So. Did you find your settings, Marie, to get that picture changed? You're muted. You're muted.
Just press down on the
There
space
you
bar,
go.
Marie.
You got it.
Okay. No,
find-
but I guess it was because I logged in like at 9:30 just to make sure I had
Sure,
it.
sure.
And then it automatically took that horrible picture. And I
you can
can't.
change it. Just find it in the settings.
But I don't have an account.
Oh, you never created an account. Okay.
Right. I just clicked
Okay.
your link.
When you
on your
create an
email.
account, it'll give you a chance to put your own picture in, the one you want.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, sure. What do you think, Rick? Better than yesterday?
Okay,
We'll
Bye.
see. Bye-bye, Maureen.
bye.
This was a lot better.
Yeah, it worked out better than what we were doing yesterday for sure. So I do appreciate your input. You taught me a lot, Rick. Just didn't have time to put together my own, so Gary helped me out, and I sure appreciate that. Any other questions, or we ready to call it a day?
You know, I don't know if everyone heard Larry East earlier say that if you want to speak in a multi-person meeting like this, the easiest thing to do is just to, and you're muted, hold down your space bar and it will temporarily unmute you. Marie, I notice you and Stanley and Jean are unmuted. Okay, so if you mute your audio and then you want to speak, just hold down your space bar. I'm going to let my space bar go now.
Perfect.
Thanks for that, Buzz.
It's easier than looking for the little icon.
It is.
That's true. It just works, you know, very, very easily. Stanley, did you get what I was saying?
Well, I don't have a computer. I'm working off an iPad, so.
Well, can you hit the mute button on your iPad? Oh, you don't have the keyboard. That's right.
No, right.
It's all about touching on an iPad. It's swiping and figuring that out. So,
Tim, I hope we can do this again in smaller groups. This has been very helpful today.
well, we will, and like I say, when Sunday we'll specialize, or we'll emphasize the iPad. I'll create the meeting on iPad and I'll use mine, and we'll work through it together. We'll learn together. I'm still weak on the iPad myself, so we'll work on it.
Are you planning to do it this Sunday?
This Sunday at 3. I'll send you an email with the link for this Sunday, kind of like the help sessions. We'll do help sessions on Zoom when we can now.
Hey, thank you.
Okay. They won't let us in the craft room yet. When they do, we'll go back there.
Hey, the crafters have got first bid.
There you go. For sure.
Well, thanks for everything. This really helped a lot.
Good. I'm glad it helped. I'm glad we put it together, and we'll keep learning together.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting and look for my email, and we'll keep going on this platform. So,
I'm really
any ideas?
impressed.
Go ahead, Rick.
Participation. I'm really impressed by the number of participants.
I was too. We had 28 at one point. I was glad. I didn't know what to expect. I was happy because I've been in a lot of these meetings, and you pat yourselves on the back. They usually don't go this smoothly. People usually have a dog barking in the background, a cat walking across the screen. I've seen it all. So you did well. Pat yourselves on the back.
Tim, do you see me turning into a ghost?
I do. I do.
That's because I tried to put the Aurora Borealis
behind you.
background. It doesn't work.
I tell you, on the virtual screen, your machine itself and the lighting behind you makes a big difference. And it's something you have to play with. There are certain machines, certain devices that just won't let you do it at all. But once you learn it, it can be a lot of fun. I go to the beach every once in a while, kick back and relax. You know, we're supposed to be staying in place, so this lets you get away a little. Just play with it, and like I say, but don't get frustrated. Sometimes it's the computer you're on won't let you. And if you're ambitious, you can always just take and throw a sheet behind you and play with it and try it. Find a friend, find another tech club member that you can work with. This works one-on-one. Practice sharing a screen. Ask the other person what they're seeing. That's the way I've learned it. Heck, I had to do this for business, and I had my wife in the other room and just trying things and playing with it for hours until we could get it to where I could at least function. But
Tim,
don't take it too serious.
Tim,
Yeah.
one question. I'm looking at the photo of Marie Van Huys. It's been frozen, the whole section. I see no movement on that. Why is that?
Because she logged in twice, making sure she was getting in early, and she hasn't logged out yet. So I should be able to remove her. And I'm not having, there we go. There, I got her out. So when you're the host, you can control things. I can mute you all. So if you start hosting and you do get something in the background that's feeding back and not right, again, you have to pull your arrow down, and then learning where things are is tricky. But in the participant screen is where you would go, and you can actually mute all or unmute all. You get a little control as the meeting host. That's why I passed it off to Gary when he was presenting, because he could mute everybody if it became necessary, or he can unmute everyone when he wants to get that feedback. So as you play with it, when you're the host, it does give you options you don't have as a participant.
Thank you.
The free version's free. Find a friend, play with it. We can't go next door to be face to face. This is probably the next best thing we've got right now. So it's not quite the same, but it's better than 2 tin cans and a string, which is what I grew up on. All right, everybody, have a good day. Look for that email from me. And there'll be some links, and we'll touch base Sunday, if not before. Have a good week.
Take care now.
You too.